Hey guys, what's going on? Today we're going to be talking about One Piece chapter 144 and 145. And I know I'm a little late, I did miss last week's chapter, but I still want to talk about it because I do think the chapters kind of tie into each other. But luckily we didn't get a break between 144 and 145. So if you haven't read those chapters, make sure to click off the video now because there is going to be heavy spoilers for One Piece. Okay, so you've probably seen everywhere on the internet by now that Luffy has 5th gear and Luffy's new devil fruit awakening, which his devil fruit is actually the HITO HITO no Mi. So when it comes to chapter 144, I'm not going to cover that much on it. I'm just going to go after the basics. We do get some stuff with Hiyori and Orochi and all that stuff, but we're not here for that. We're actually here to focus on Monkey D. Luffy and his new fruit. So the chapter starts off with Zunisha saying Luffy is joyboy. So the chapter starts off with Zunisha saying Luffy is joyboy, and maybe Zunisha is just hearing the same drums of liberation. So Zunisha is like, okay, this is what happened last time I heard joyboy. Luffy has become joyboy. Joyboy is more like a title of liberation free. In my mind, that's what I think of it. So we see everyone who was unconscious, like Sanji and everyone else, waking up and it's like, is that Luffy? Like they're questioning it because they can feel Luffy's presence. So everyone's pretty much questioning it. We see Marco like straw hat question mark, like he knows, but he's like something's up, something's different Luffy. And we see Otama and Nami crying because Luffy is alive. So this is the most important thing of this chapter. We pan over to Marie-Joie and we see the Gorosei talking about this devil fruit and saying, oh, was it worth it? We gave up our best agent and we enraged Kaido just to get this done. And they talk about how they've been trying to capture this fruit for centuries, and it's almost like the fruit's been evading them. And one of the Gorosei members chimes in and says that's just the nature of Zoan devil fruits. It's like they have a mind of their own. So then they drop the name of the devil fruit, and Luffy's devil fruit is not the Gumma Gumma no Mi, but it is the HITO HITO no Mi model Nika. So that introduces a whole lot into One Piece, which I'm going to do many videos on. We have Luffy's new devil fruit, the Sun God Nika devil fruit, and we've already had devil fruits like this, like Sengoku's Buddha, but since there's model Nika and there's more models like this, like we're introducing gods, not saying that there wasn't before, but we're introducing gods. Does that mean there's more god type devil fruits out there? So now that Luffy has awakened his devil fruit, his rubber body is stronger, and they say this power is only limited by the user's imagination, which we know Luffy has a huge imagination, so we know this is going to be crazy, and it seems to fit Luffy's character very well. So the Gorosei go on to call this the most ridiculous power in the world. I know a lot of people were getting confused saying the strongest power in the world, but it's the most ridiculous power in the world just because of how much freedom that the user of this fruit has to fight. They can fight however they want, if that makes sense. So we see Luffy dancing around and he's excited. He's talking about how he's at his peak. He feels like he could fight forever or a little bit longer. And he says he's at his peak. This is 5th gear. Then all of a sudden we see Conqueror's Haki just raining down from the rooftop of Onigashima, and Kaido is down there in his dragon form. You know what he's doing. He's down there intimidating everyone. And then all we see is Kaido get grabbed by Luffy from the rooftop, drags him up there, swings him around like a Looney Tune character, and proceeds to slam Kaido into the rooftop. So we can obviously see here Luffy's fighting style is getting a little wacky because it just like the way Oda draws with their eyes popping out of the sockets, everything like that, it takes on more of like a cartoonish feel to it. And I know some people don't like that, but you gotta remember this is Oda and this is Luffy's character. Luffy has always been set up as a goofy character. It's just we've been getting a lot more serious as One Piece has gone, but I think it's nice because it's taking it back to its roots of creativity and just how silly Luffy is as a person. So we see Luffy deflect one of Kaido's Boro Blast by lifting the ground up, and I'm assuming he's turning it into rubber, and that's just a part of his awakening. It's kind of like a paramecia awakening where he could transform his environment around him into rubber. So we see that, and then we get the final panel, and it is Luffy in his 5th gear. And I must say the design does look pretty cool, and there's a lot that we do have to learn about this power. Now on to chapter 1045. So we start off this chapter with seeing Luffy bouncing around the rooftop, which he did turn into rubber. And Kaido says, so it seems like you've awakened your paramecia fruit. And then he questions it. He says something seems a little off here. He goes on to say a transformation like this is typical of a Zoan fruit user, and then he proceeds to eat Luffy. But this does not work out in his favor because you guys know what happens. When someone eats someone, they start damaging them from the inside. So Luffy is beating up Kaido from the inside, then uses Gumma Gumma no balloon inside of him, expanding Kaido. So then we see Kaido talk about this and he says, damn it, your body is meant to be rubbery, not mine. So I guess what we could take from that is Luffy is able to change his whole environment around him. That's including people. So Luffy can practically make anything rubbery, and he's only limited by his imagination. So this is where this chapter starts to get silly in a way. We see Luffy literally inside of Kaido's body, and he grabs through Kaido's eyes and grabs his nose and then makes Kaido spit him out. So then we see Luffy shoot up into the sky past the clouds, and then the next thing you know, we see Sun God Nika Luffy as a giant. So Luffy transformed himself into a giant to step on Kaido, and maybe since Luffy is a giant, he can wear that large straw hat that was in Marijois. Maybe that's how the previous Joy Boy did wear that hat. So after him transforming into a giant, he goes on to start jump roping Kaido. So he takes a head-on boar blast from Kaido, and then we see Luffy all burnt up and he's falling off of Onigashima. He gets shot off of it. In cartoon fashion, we see him run in midair, run on the clouds or run on the sky back onto the island at super speed, I'm guessing. So then we see Kaido charging up to hit Luffy with a super strong attack, and it's 3 World Conquest Ragnarok. So Kaido is actually going full force here to hit Luffy, and he hits Luffy with it, but it seems like it doesn't faze Luffy. He hits Luffy so hard, Luffy's face shoots through the roof while his eyes are popping out of his head. And then we see all the Straw Hats in the same comic book fashion with their eyes popping out of their head. So then we see Kaido mentioning this, saying it seems like something out of a picture book. So then we see Luffy was actually knocked out of his 5th gear form because that hit actually did take a lot from him. He didn't show a lot of physical damage, but it did seem like it really drained him. And Kaido just goes on to tell him to die, and the stories of this war will be told. So we know Luffy's not done yet, and we see Luffy starting to talk about the fallen people and the people who he's doing this for. And I actually really like this because he mentions Kinemon, Momonosuke, but he also mentions Pedro. And Pedro, in my opinion, is one of the most loyal unofficial Straw Hat members, is what I like to call him, because Pedro sacrificed himself for the Straw Hats, and I thought they would forget about that, but it's nice to see that Luffy still remembers that, and Oda threw it in that Luffy still remembers what Pedro did for them. So Luffy asks his heartbeat to get louder again, and Luffy's heartbeat does get louder, and he goes back into his gear 5th. And one thing about the gear 5th that a lot of people did not realize is it's not fire, or maybe it is fire, but it's not orange and red. It's actually white. Luffy's body is covered in white. So I guess you could think of it maybe like the Snake Man transformation that he had. So after Luffy's all powered up and ready to go again, we see him get hit by Kaido's Kanabo, and Luffy's face takes the shape of the Kanabo. So we see Kaido letting off a barrage of attacks with his Kanabo, hitting Luffy in all different directions, striking him all type of ways, but it seems like Luffy is just eating it. After none of Kaido's attacks are working, he goes on to say, what is this pure white transformation? He fights with so much freedom and versatility. I've never seen anything like it. So after that, Luffy lands an impressive blow on Kaido, and it's kind of weird and wacky because we see the blow go right through Kaido's face, and we see Momonosuke and Yamato shocked at this. Kaido looks like he's down. He did hit the ground, but I don't think it's over yet, and Luffy says to Kaido, I'm having the time of my life, Kaido. And the chapter ends, and it doesn't look like we get a break next week, so we're excited about that. So that was chapter 1044 and 1045. These chapters, it is getting pretty wacky, but I do love it. I do like to see Luffy. I want to learn more about this power, how he'll use it, what it actually looks like when we get to see it in the anime, and how much Luffy learns with this. Because if he's able to fight however he wants, he's able to use all these ridiculous attacks, what does this mean for future opponents, and how can future opponents stop him? Like, what would this be like up against Blackbeard and other people like Big Mom, even though Big Mom's out of the picture? What does this mean for Luffy, and how do we power scale this? Because I see a lot of people saying Luffy has Toon Force, and that's exactly what this looks like, with Luffy running on the sky and turning into a giant, but I do think it fits Luffy's character. So we have a lot to learn about this. Good thing we have no break next week. So, and I do wonder how Kaido's going to be shut out, because it's not like they can't kill Kaido, or Kaido kind of has to have a change of heart, because it's not like Kaido's just gonna leave Wano and not come back. I'd be surprised if he did, but we'll find all that out soon. I hope you guys did enjoy these 2 chapter reviews on One Piece. If you guys want to see more, let me know by hitting that like button, and make sure to drop a comment, and if you're new here, subscribe. And with all that being said, I want you guys to have a good day or night wherever in the world, and peace.